Chapter 89, Abandoned Granary. At this moment, what Huang Yuanfeng is looking for is a group of people who were known as crooks in their brigade. They are people who will do anything for some money. When she arrived at the abandoned granary by the mountain foothill, Huang Yuanfeng hesitated. It was far away from the village, and if something happened to her, no one would come to help her. But when she remembered Su Anna's promise, and the scene of Du Jiawen looking at Lu Jiyu with love in his eyes, she gritted her teeth and walked towards the abandoned granary. Before entering the old building, she heard laughter from inside, mixed with vulgar words. "Damn it, I should beat that bastard to death. How dare he look at my wife?" A rough man's voice came from inside, full of anger. "Brother Wang, leave this matter to us. We will definitely find an opportunity to teach him a lesson," another man said in a confident tone. "Just break his leg, there is no need to kill him." Hearing these words, Huang Yuanfeng shuddered all over her body and felt a chill run down her spine. While she was afraid, these people were indeed ruthless enough to complete the task. When she stepped on a dead branch, everyone inside was startled. "Who?" one of the men yelled as he came out to check the situation. When he saw Huang Yuanfeng, he narrowed his eyes and swept his gaze over her from head to toe. Although she is not as beautiful as Su Anna, she is still a person who grew up in a town. Therefore, her skin is fairer than the women in the village, and her facial features are more delicate. As the man looked at her, his eyes flashed with a gleam, and his heart was itchy. He rarely gets close to such a woman. After all, when a woman sees him, she would run away as if he was a beast. "Hello, miss, are you looking for someone?" he asked with a smile, showing a row of yellow teeth. Huang Yuanfeng was disgusted with this man in her heart, but she didn't dare to show it. She pretended to be calm and said, "I'm looking for Brother Wang." When the man heard her words, he was disappointed and shouted, "Brother Wang, a pretty lass is looking for you." After shouting, the man gave her a lustful look. His eyes stayed on her chest for a long time before he licked his lips and muttered, "What a pretty girl." Hearing his words, Huang Yuanfeng's face turned pale, and she took several steps back. Seeing her reaction, the man smiled and said, "Don't be afraid. I won't touch Brother Wang's woman." Not long after, Brother Wang came out and asked, "Who is looking for me?" "That's the girl," the man said as he pointed at her. Brother Wang looked at Huang Yuanfeng and asked, "Who are you? Why are you looking for me?" Taking a deep breath and calming down, Huang Yuanfeng said, "I heard that you are willing to help with some small things. Is that true?" Brother Wang raised his eyebrows and said, "It depends on the small things and your sincerity." Huang Yuanfeng understood what he meant and took out her purse. She showed them the money Su Anna gave her and asked at the same time, "Is this sincere enough for you?" When Brother Wang saw dozens of 10-yuan bills, his eyes lit up. He reached for the money and said, "We are friends. As a friend, I would be happy to help you with your problems. Little sister, tell your brother, what's your problem?" Huang Yuanfeng breathed a sigh of relief and said, "Brother Wang, I need your help to teach a vixen a lesson." "Oh, who is this vixen who dares to offend you?" "Her name is Lu Jiyu. She lives in Zai village, a nearby production team," Huang Yuanfeng said through gritted teeth. "What do you want me to do?" Brother Wang asked. "She's weak and gets scared easily. I want her to be scared silly if possible." Brother Wang smiled and said, "It's easy. I promise to give you a satisfactory result." Huang Yuanfeng nodded and left quickly. She worried that if she stayed any longer, she might run into trouble. The man looked at her back thoughtfully and asked, "Brother Wang, can you leave this matter to me? I haven't tasted a woman for a long time." Brother Wang glanced at him and said, "Don't go too far this time. The last time you did this, that girl went crazy and almost exposed us. Fortunately, she committed suicide by jumping into the well. Otherwise, we might end up in jail." "Brother Wang, don't worry. I promise that I will do this job well," the man said confidently. "You better be," Brother Wang snorted and walked into the abandoned granary. Early the next morning, Lu Jiyu woke up feeling refreshed. Although there is still a little pain in the lower abdomen, it is bearable. Sitting on the Kang bed, she heard the sound of hammering from the backyard. After putting on the padded jacket, she left the room. In the backyard, she saw Li Chenmo building a chicken coop. Despite the cold weather, he was only wearing a shirt and his back was already sweating. Noticing her footsteps, he turned back and asked, "Why do you get up so early? Did I wake you up?" Lu Jiyu shook her head and said, "Husband, you'd better put on your jacket. Don't catch a cold." "It's not cold and I'm almost done," Li Chenmo said, wiping the sweat from his forehead. Lu Jiyu frowned, but she didn't insist and said, "Then finish it quickly and go change your clothes." MHMM. After glancing at him again, Lu Jiu returned to the bedroom and entered her own space. After taking a hot bath, she left her space to prepare breakfast. She prepared chicken soup with medicinal herbs for Li Chenmo so that he would not catch a cold. In addition to chicken soup, she also prepared soy milk, because yesterday she found out that he likes to drink soy milk. Although it is rare to have a heavy meal for breakfast, Li Chenmo must have been hungry since he started working in the morning. So Lu Jiu steamed some mixed vegetables, steamed buns, grilled some beef sausages, made some sunny eggs, and made a plate of stir-fried vegetables. When she finished preparing the breakfast, Li Chenmo had already set up the chicken coop. Since they can only keep one chicken, he only built a small chicken coop. Not only does it not take up too much space in the backyard, but it is also convenient to collect eggs. Seeing him put the old hen into the coop, Lu Jiu said, "Husband, I boiled a pot of hot water for you. You go and wash up first, and then we can have breakfast." "All right." When he walked towards the house, Li Chenmo smelt an unpleasant smell on his body and wanted to avoid her. But when he was near her, Lu Jiu reached out her hand to wipe his face. Startled, he stood there motionless. After she wiped his sweat, Lu Jiu said, "Go take a hot bath, don't catch a cold." MHMM. Li Chenmo nodded, and went to pick up the hot water in the kitchen with a smile on his face. Lu Jiu didn't know what he was thinking, so she went to check on the situation of the old hen. From what she knows, hens need 14 to 16 hours of light a day to lay eggs. Due to the shorter days in winter, hens rarely lay eggs. Therefore, artificial light is required. Unfortunately, there was no electricity in this day and age. Therefore, it is difficult for hens to lay eggs in winter. She looks at the small feeders and a pot inside the coop. There is some water and some vegetable leaves on the feeder. These must have been given by Father Li. Lu Jiu glanced at the bathroom, took out a bag of chicken feed from her own space and filled the feeder. She also took out some pellets and mixed them with the feed. With pellet feed, the nutrition of the old hen will be supplemented. As for lights, she found a small light bulb and solar panel generator in the house inside her space. After connecting the bulb to the generator, she placed the solar panels on top of the chicken coop. Due to its small size, it will not attract anyone's attention at all. As for the light bulb, she kept it in the deepest corner of the coop. No one will notice the light bulb unless someone is looking for it intentionally. The moment she turned on the light bulb, the old hen went to the light bulb. Since the old hen is lying in the corner, the light is blocked and it cannot be seen from the outside. Satisfied, she washed her hands and brought breakfast to the bedroom. Because it was just the two of them, she liked to eat on the warm Kang bed. When Li Chenmo finished taking a shower, Lu Jiu was already waiting for him. Seeing his wet hair, she took out a towel from the cabinet and dried it for him. His height is 188 cm, while Lu Jiu is 163 cm. There was a 25 cm difference between them, and she had to tiptoe to reach his head. In order to accommodate his wife, Li Chenmo bent his waist and leaned down. The eyes of the two were finally on the same level. "You should dry your hair properly. What if you catch a cold?" Lu Jiu said with a frown. Li Chenmo smiled when he heard her nagging. Knowing that she cared about him made him happy. The more he looked at her, the more intense his feelings for her. Following his impulse, he leaned over to kiss her lips. This kiss was like a butterfly touch, fleeting, yet it made his heart beat so fast as if it would explode in the next second. Lu Jiu was stunned by the sudden kiss. She looked at him and saw him smiling at her. She felt her cheeks getting hot, so she lowered her head and said, "Stop messing around. Let's eat before the food gets cold." As shameless as he was actually nervous, afraid that she would appear to reject his touch. He's happy because his wife isn't angry and seems to be accepting his kisses instead. So hearing her words, he chuckled and said, "Wife, how can you say I'm messing around? I'm kissing my legally married wife." After saying this, he pulled her into his arms and kissed her red earlobe. He is someone who knows when to gain a mile after getting an inch. Therefore, whenever he sees an opportunity to get close to his wife, he will never let it go. Lu Jiu felt her earlobe numb, patted his back and asked, "Aren't you hungry?" "I'm very hungry," Li Chenmo said in a low voice. He hugged her and leaned his head on her shoulder. Whenever he breathed, he could smell her unique fragrance. Her smell was like the smell of the forest after the rain, with a touch of sweetness. He likes it very much. Hearing his words, Lu Jiu felt her heart was about to explode. These words should be just an ordinary sentence. But when he said this in a low, magnetic, and hoarse voice, she couldn't help noticing the ambiguity in this sentence. After marriage, she felt that this was the only thing on her mind. Lu Jiu was afraid that if she hugged him like this longer, she would jump on him and do something bad. So she patted his back again and said, "Let's eat first. Otherwise, the food would be cold." Li Chenmo didn't know that his wife finally had a desire for him and felt a little disappointed. It seems that his beauty trap is not working. He needs to work harder to seduce his wife and consummate their marriage. Otherwise, he will never be at ease. Despite his reluctance, he let her go. After breakfast, Lee Chenmo planned to find Father Lee. While he will only start raising pigs in the spring, he hopes to finish building the pig pens before the spring plowing season begins. So after he finished washing the dishes, he put on a woolen hat, scarf, and gloves. Seeing that he was about to go out, Lu Jiu asked, "Husband, are you going out?" I am going to find my father. Before we build the pigsty, there is something we need to discuss." Lee Chenmo nodded. "Oh." Hearing her answer, Lee Chenmo raised his eyebrows. Just when he thought she was going to say something, he saw her leave the room. He followed her curiously and saw her filling a basket with several jars. "Wife, what are you doing?" he asked. "Didn't your father like the snacks I made before? Since there's more at home, take it with you and give it to your father," Lu Jiu said and handed him the bamboo basket. "Okay, do you want to visit your parents?" Lee Chenmo asked with a smile. Lu Jiu felt that he might be worried if she stayed alone at home, so she agreed and said, "I'm going to change clothes. Wait for me." She went into their room and put on a woolen hat, scarf, and gloves. Before leaving, she took out some biscuits, 10 eggs, and 2 catties of meat from her space, and put them in the bamboo basket. Lee Chenmo saw that she wanted to bring some food back to her parents' house and said nothing. As soon as they locked the gate, Pan Magia came over. Seeing her anxious face, Lu Jiu asked, "Magia, what's the matter?" Pan Magia glanced at Lee Chenmo and said in a low voice, "Jiu, I have something to tell you. Can we talk for a moment?" Lee Chenmo thought that there was nothing he couldn't hear, so he raised his eyebrows and didn't intend to walk away. Lu Jiu thought that something bad happened to Pan Magia and asked again, "Did something happen to you?" "Something did happen, but it's not about me, it's about you." Hearing her words, Lee Chenmo frowned, while Lu Jiu was taken aback. After getting married, she stayed at home most of the time. How could something happen to her? "What is it?" she asked curiously. Pan Magia thought about it and decided to tell them. After all, Lee Chenmo is Lu Jiu's husband, so he should know about it. "Jiu, you have to be more careful in the next few days. Yesterday, after I followed Zyro Yiking, I saw her talking to Su Anna. After she left, Huang Yuanfeng and Su Anna were discussing something. I followed Huang Yuanfeng curiously and saw that she found those rogues from the neighboring production team. She gave them money to do something. I don't know what they are planning, but I heard them call your name," Pan Magia said worriedly. "These people are known for their lawless behavior. I heard from the educated youth that 2 months ago, a female educated youth was humiliated and committed suicide. Some said that those people followed her for a few days before she suffered the tragedy. I am worried that they may be plotting something against you," she added. After listening to Pan Magia's words, Lu Jiu frowned deeply. Judging from the plot of the original novel, there is indeed a part where the heroine is kidnapped and almost gang-raped by a group of rogues hired by Su Anna. The person who saved her was Pan Magia. Because of this accident, Pan Magia was seriously injured and lost the ability to bear her own children. It's just that Pan Magia didn't know their plan in advance until she couldn't find Zyro Yiking and was looking for her. But now, the plot has deviated from the original plot line because of her. Such an accident should not have happened to her, because she was just a small supporting character. What's more, Pan Magia already knew about their plan in advance and warned her. Does this mean that she is slowly changing their fates? What about the heroine of the original novel, Zyro Yiking? What role does she play in this matter? Seeing Lu Jiu standing there motionless, Lee Chenmo thought she was scared. So he held her hand, lowered his head and said, "Wife, don't worry, you have me. I won't let anything happen to you." When she came back to her senses, Lu Jiu nodded but didn't say much. Hearing Lee Chenmo's words, Pan Magia heaved a sigh of relief. Although he has retired, he is a soldier after all. He must be able to protect Lu Jiu. "Thank you, Magia. Please don't tell anyone about this and keep a distance from those people. I don't want you to have any trouble because of me," Lu Jiu reminded her seriously. Pan Magia nodded and said, "I understand. I will keep an eye on Zyro Yiking and the others. You should be careful. It's better to report this matter to Team Leader Han." "Okay." After Pan Magia left, Lee Chenmo said, "Until this matter is resolved, you should not be alone. If I need to go out, I will send you to your parents' house and pick you up when I return. If you want to go somewhere, you must tell me or your family." Lu Jiu understood his worry, and she was also afraid. So she nodded and said, "Okay, I will listen to you." Because of this incident, both of them were silent along the way. Lee Chenmo was already thinking about how to protect her, but Lu Jiu was recalling the incident when she was followed. Does that person have anything to do with this matter? When they arrived at Lu's house, the Lu family had just finished breakfast. When Mother Lu saw them coming, she was overjoyed and said with a smile, "Yu Chenmo, what brought you here today? Come in and warm yourself." Father, mother, brother, sister-in-law, Li Chenmo and Lu Jiyu first greeted everyone before taking their seats. "Mother, this is for you, and father," Lu Jiyu said while putting a bamboo basket on the table. Seeing that they brought not only eggs, but also meat and snacks, Mother Lu said, "Didn't Mother tell you that you don't need to bring anything when you come to visit? Why do you bring these here? You should keep it for yourself." After saying this, Mother Lu glanced at Li Chenmo. She was worried that her son-in-law would be unhappy because Lu Jiyu always brought them so many good things. Although Li Chenmo likes Lu Jiyu, they can't always take advantage of his feelings. Otherwise, his feelings for his wife will diminish because of this matter. Noticing Mother Lu's glance, Li Chenmo smiled and said, "Mother, it's our filial piety. Please accept it." After listening to his words, Mother Lu smiled even brighter and said, "Then Mother will accept it. Bring a jar of pickles with you when you go back later." "All right, thank you, Mother," Li Chenmo said with a smile. Father Lu nodded in satisfaction. They chose the right person for their daughter. Father Lu took a look at Li Chenmo's legs and found that when he was walking just now, he didn't limp. After sitting for a while, Li Chenmo said, "Father, Mother, I have something else to do, so I will take my leave first. I will come to pick up Jiyu later." "All right," Mother Lu agreed readily. Lu Jiyu wanted to send him to the door but was stopped by Li Chenmo. "Wife, there is no need to send me off. You are not in good health, you can't catch a cold. Go inside, I will come to pick you up before dark." "Okay, be careful when you are outside," Lu Jiyu reminded him. She was worried that those people would also target him. "Don't worry." Before leaving, he rubbed her head gently. After Li Chenmo left, Lu Jiyu went to her brothers and told them what Pan Magia had said. After learning about this, Lu Cheng was so angry that he slapped the table on the Kang bed and said, "These bastards. If they dare to attack you, I will definitely make them regret being born." Wang Muxia was startled by him, patting her chest and said, "What's wrong with you? Can't you talk properly?" Seeing his wife was startled, Lu Cheng quickly said, "Wife, I'm sorry, I'm just too angry." Wang Muxiao didn't bother to pay attention to him, rolled her eyes, and continued mending her daughter's clothes. "Jiyu, is this information credible?" Lu Han asked. "It should be. Pan Magia won't lie to me." "Why are you so sure? Aren't she and Zyro Yiking best friends?" Chen Anwen asked with a frown. "Sister-in-law, I can't prove it, but I believe Pan Magia won't lie to me," Lu Jiyu said with certainty. Lu Jiyu trusted her not only because of her personality, but also because they were friends. After all, Pan Magia is the most loyal character in the original novel. Even though she was betrayed so many times by Zyro Yiking, when Zyro Yiking was kidnapped by the Rouge, she still rushed over to save her despite the danger. Pan Magia will not betray her. "In this case, you must tell us every time you go out. We will accompany you," Lu Cheng said seriously. "I'll talk to Team Leader Han about this matter. Although we don't have evidence, it's better to take precautionary measures. If something really happens, at least we have to be prepared," Lu Han said. "Brother, when are you going to see Team Leader Han?" Lu Jiyu asked. "The sooner the better," Lu Han said after a while. "Husband, do we have to prepare some gifts?" Chen Anwen asked. Before Lu Han could speak, Lu Jiyu said, "I heard that their son caught a cold a few days ago. How about we give him some honey?" When everyone heard her words, they all stared at her with wide eyes. "Jiyu, it's not that your second sister-in-law disagrees with you, but where can we find honey? Let alone winter, even in the spring and summer, it's hard to find wild honey," Wang Muxiao sighed. She couldn't believe that her husband's sister was still so naive. Even if they really have honey, how can they have the heart to give it away? Best to let their own children have it. Not wanting to affect Lu Jiyu's mood, Chen Anwen said, "I still have some milk powder. How about we send some to Team Leader Han?" "Then let's do that," Lu Han nodded. Lu Jiyu wanted to tell them that she had a lot of honey, and they didn't need to use their things to deal with her affairs, but there was simply no way she could tell them about her space. She could only sigh, but her heart was warm. Her family is really nice to her. "Thank you, brothers and sisters-in-law," she said suddenly. "You don't need to thank your own family," Wang Muxiao said while waving her hand. Not to mention that they got a lot of good things from Lu Jiyu and Li Chenmo. Even if she didn't give them anything, as the only daughter of the Lu family, they would help and protect her. After the discussion, Lu Han and Lu Cheng went to find Team Leader Han, while Lu Jiyu went to rest in her room. As for Chen Anwen and Wang Muxiao, they went to do their own things. At the same time, Li Chenmo and Father Li were visiting Han Yuheng. As soon as they were seated, Lu Han and Lu Cheng arrived. Seeing them coming, Li Chenmo stood up and asked, "Brother-in-law, why are you here?" Lu Han and Lu Cheng did not expect to see Li Chenmo at Han Yuheng's house. However, as Lu Juyu's husband, it is understandable for him to inform the team leader of this matter. Seeing them coming, Han Yuheng said, "Lu Han, Lu Cheng, please have a seat." After Lu Han and Lu Cheng took their seats, Han Yuheng asked, "Are you here to talk about your sister?" "Yes, team leader Han, has our brother-in-law told you about this matter?" Lu Han asked as he placed the small bag of milk powder on the table. Han Yuheng glanced at the milk powder, nodded and said, "They haven't taken any action yet, so I can't do anything about this matter, but I will notify the officers to strengthen patrols around our area." When the Lu brothers heard this, they frowned. While they knew it was impossible to detain those people without evidence, they feared that if they waited until they did something, it would be too late. Seeing their expressions, Han Yuheng said again, "Please rest assured. Due to previous cases, officers are already paying close attention to them." After considering the situation, Lu Han and Lu Cheng nodded. Seeing that they had finished talking, Father Li said, "Team leader Han, besides this matter, we also want to ask permission to build a pigsty near the mountain behind my third son's house." Hearing Father Li's words, Han Yuheng looked at Li Chenmo and asked, "Brother Li wants to raise pigs?" Li Chenmo nodded and said, "My wife and I plan to raise 4 pigs in spring. I wonder if it is possible to get permission from the brigade." Han Yuheng was very happy when he heard that they were going to raise 4 pigs. Due to the difficulty and heavy workload of raising pigs, no villager is willing to raise pigs. Among the 10 production teams in their brigade, their team is always ranked last because they can only raise a maximum of 3 pigs per year. If Li Chenmo successfully raises 4 pigs, plus the 3 pigs raised by their production team, they can at least get 3rd place this year. He might be able to get promoted. While Han Yuheng was delighted, Lu Han and Lu Cheng frowned. As soon as spring comes, Li Chenmo will go to the fields to plow to earn work points. Then it is Lu Juyu who is responsible for feeding the pigs and cleaning the pigsty. She was born weak, and with the previous fever, they worried that she could not handle the heavy workload and fell ill again. Li Chenmo glanced at his brother-in-law's face and knew that they were unhappy. Since they didn't ask, he didn't bother to explain. After all, this is between him and his wife, and they, as her brothers, have no right to interfere with their affairs. Not knowing what they were thinking, Han Yuheng patted his chest and said, "Leave this matter to me. I promise to get permission before tomorrow." "Thank you, team leader Han," Li Chenmo said with a smile. "Have you found someone to help you build a pigsty?" Han Yuheng asked. "Currently, the educated youth who live with my father have expressed their willingness to help. They are too weak. If you only ask them, it will take several days to build the pigsty. I will help you build the pigsty," Han Yuheng said with a frown. "We will also come to help," Lu Cheng said. "Then I will bother my brothers-in-law and team leader Han with this matter." Li Chenmo nodded. Father Li thought for a while and said, "Third son, since the team leader and your brothers-in-law are agreeing to help, let's tell the educated youths that we have enough manpower. Generally speaking, only 3 or 4 people are needed to build a pigsty. Now that there are already 6 people including Father Li and Li Chen's, there is no need to ask the educated youth for help." Unexpectedly, Li Chenmo said, "The more people who come to help, the better, as we can finish it faster." From what he said, everyone understood that he wanted to help the educated youth. After all, they are newcomers and have no work points. They need to use their own money to buy ingredients. By letting them come to help build the pigsty, he can give them food. At least they can save some money and have a meal. As a result, Han Yuheng's admiration for Li Chenmo increased several times. Everyone is having a hard time, but he is still so generous to share his food with others. More importantly, he didn't flaunt his good deeds and did it in a low-key manner. While others were admiring Li Chenmo's generosity, Han Yuluo was looking at him with narrowed eyes. His eyes were full of jealousy and disagreement. Hearing Li Chenmo's words, he couldn't help but think of Lu Juyu's frail body. If it were him, he wouldn't raise so many pigs. After all, in the end, it was Lu Juyu who needed to do the work. What's more, instead of giving food to strangers, it's better to let her eat well. What a hypocrite. As if sensing his gaze, Li Chenmo turned his head and saw Han Yuluo standing by the window looking at him. Seeing the jealousy and disagreement in those eyes, Li Chenmo raised his eyebrows provocatively. Han Yuluo clenched his fists, suppressed his anger, turned around and left. Han Yuheng and the others didn't notice their exchange as they were still discussing the pigsty. When they were talking about the design, Li Chenmo said, "I will draw the design of the pigsty, and we will build it according to the design drawing." Everyone agreed that the pigsties built in the army must be better than the ones they used. Therefore, when he said that he would draw the blueprints, no one objected. After the discussion, Li Chenmo, Lu Han and Lu Cheng went to Lu's house, while Father Li went to find Li Chen's. On the way back to Lu's house, Lu Cheng finally couldn't help asking, "Brother-in-law, are you really planning to raise 4 pigs? Won't you be overwhelmed by work? You don't plan to let Jiu raise those pigs by herself, do you?" Li Chenmo sighed and said helplessly, "Second brother, how can I have the heart to let my wife go to work? I plan to raise 2 pigs and do everything by myself, but my wife insists on helping me and wants to raise 4 pigs. In the end, I was not willing to let her down, so I could only agree to her request." Lu Han and Lu Cheng knew Li Chenmo's feelings. After all, they can't win their wives whenever they argue either. Lu Han patted Li Chenmo on the shoulder and sighed, "It has been hard on you. We spoiled you too much." "It's nothing, as long as my wife can be happy, I'm willing to work harder," Li Chenmo said with a smile. He is very grateful to the Lu family for doting on his wife. Hearing his words, Lu Han and Lu Cheng looked at each other. Their mother's insight is really powerful. The daughter-in-law and son-in-law she chose are all excellent. Each of them perfectly complements her children. When they arrived at Lu's house, they saw Lu Jiu peeling something in the living room. Seeing them coming, she poured them a cup of hot tea and said, "Husband, brothers, you are back." After being seated, they drank tea and looked at the black thing on the bowl. They picked one and sniffed it. Although it is black and looks strange, it is very fragrant. "Jiu, what is this?" Lu Cheng asked curiously. "Second brother, this is called a chestnut. I picked it from the mountains. It can be eaten as a snack or made into a dish," Lu Jiu said while placing a plate of the peeled roasted chestnuts in front of them. Just when Lu Han and Lu Cheng were hesitating, Li Chenmo picked up the chestnuts and ate them without hesitation. They stared at him with wide eyes, not expecting him to eat this thing without saying a word. It was the first time they had seen this type of nut and wondered if it was safe to eat. Li Chenmo looked at them after savoring the taste and said, "Brothers, try it, it's delicious." Seeing that Li Chenmo enjoyed the chestnuts, they finally tasted it. The moment they tasted it, they were amazed. It's buttery, sweet, soft, and tastes like a boiled sweet potato. The more they eat, the more they crave for it. Seeing that they were eating very fast, Li Chenmo grabbed a handful of chestnuts and ate them slowly, while Lu Han and Lu Cheng competed with each other and ate the rest. After they finished a bowl of roasted chestnuts, Lu Jiu went to the kitchen. She took out some roasted chestnuts from the space and put them in the bamboo basket. She also filled the water tank in the kitchen with water from her space. When she checked the jars, there was very little food left in the house. After checking all the jars, she filled them with white flour, white rice, and seasonings. As for the oil, she took a tin of vegetable oil from her space and filled 3 oil bottles in the kitchen. One tin holds 15 liters of oil. In addition to vegetable oil, she also took out a tin of sesame oil, peanut oil, and soybean oil. She poured a bottle each before keeping the rest in her space. Then she took out 5 catties of pork sausage, 10 catties of pork meat, and 20 eggs. She opened the cupboards, put away the eggs, and hung the sausages and pork meat on the beams. Satisfied with the filled jars, she went to the backyard to check on the old hens. Due to the lack of light, the old hens only lays eggs every 2 or 3 days. Logically, a hen can only lay 1 egg a day, and in rare cases a maximum of 2 eggs. But due to the author's random logic, chickens in this world can lay more than 2 eggs a day. The Lu family's old hens can even lay 5 eggs a day, and sometimes have a double yolk egg. When Lu Jiu knew about this for the first time, she felt that all her 3 views of the world had been shattered. But thinking of the reader's complaints about the author's logic, she can finally accept it calmly. Lu Jiu filled the feeder with chicken feed from her own space. She also added some pellets to the feed to improve the condition of the chickens. When she's done filling the feeders, she puts the rest of the chicken feed and pellets into a broken vat near the coop. While she was busy in the backyard, Father Lu was chatting with Li Chenmo in the living room. Thanks to the brazier, the room was warm and comfortable. "Son-in-law, I heard from your brother-in-law that you plan to raise pigs. Is that true?" Father Lu asked while sipping his tea. "Father, it is true. Jiu and I have already talked about this matter. She will be in charge of cooking the pig feed, and I will do the rest." Li Chenmo nodded and said with a smile. Father Lu nodded and said, "That's good. Although Jiu's physique is not good and she can't work in the fields, her hands and feet are good at housework. Let her help you with family affairs." "Yes, Father." Although Father Lu loves his only daughter and dotes on her, he also understands that if they don't find a way to earn more work points, life will be difficult for his son-in-law. It takes 8 to 10 months to raise pigs before they can be slaughtered, but they would be able to earn a lot of work points. Due to the lack of food in this era, most pigs can only be raised to a maximum of 80 or 100 kg. If they can raise a pig to 100 kilograms, they can earn 500 work points. Are there enough people to help you build a pigsty? Father Lu asked. It's enough, Li Chenmo said with a smile. Both Li Chenmo and Father Li have quiet personalities. After a short conversation, both of them fell silent. Although no one spoke, the atmosphere was warm and not awkward. Not long after, Lu Jiu entered the living room and said, Father, we still have things to do, so we will take our leave first. We will visit you again in a few days. Walked slowly. Father Lu nodded. When Li Chenmo and Lu Jiu left Lu's house, the sun had already started to set. Looking at the sun, it is already past 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It is a rare good day in winter to see the clear sky. As they walked by the river, an image flashed through her mind. This is the memory of her body. Lu Jiu frowned, feeling a headache while fear surged from her heart. As the memory came back, she saw Su Anna's face. It turned out that it was Su Anna who pushed the original soul into the river. This part was not written in the original novel, so Lu Jiu never tried to find out what happened before. She always thought the original owner slipped and fell into the river. She never expected that this was a murder. Seeing her pale face, Li Chenmo held her arm and asked, Wife, what's wrong? I'm fine, Lu Jiu said weakly. Seeing her pale face covered with cold sweat, Li Chenmo's heart tightened. He turned around, bent his knees and said, Wife, I'll carry you back. Lu Jiu knew that in this era, being intimate in public might be reported by the police, so she wants to refuse. After waiting for a while, Li Chenmo saw that she had not climbed onto his back yet. He didn't give her any choice as he took her wrist and pulled her, and she fell on his back. He put his hand on her knees, straightened his back and strode home. When the villagers saw him carrying Lu Jiu on his back, their eyes widened in surprise. Before they could remind them of their bad behavior, Li Chenmo had already walked past them. A sharp-eyed aunt saw that Lu Jiu's face was pale and her forehead was covered with cold sweat, and she said, It seems that Jiu's illness has relapsed again. Sister-in-law, how do you know? Another aunt asked. She looks pale and her forehead is covered with cold sweat. I don't think her weak body can last long. It's a pity for such a young girl, the aunt sighed. There's no need to pity her. She can only blame herself for what happened now, if she doesn't go out to meet men in private. Will she fall into the river? After listening to her words, everyone looked at each other with understanding expressions. Everyone knew that this aunt's daughter was interested in Han Yuluo. But when her family members invited a matchmaker to visit the Han family to ask him if he had any intention to tie the knot, Han Yuluo refused without hesitation and said that he would only marry Lu Jiu as his wife. Because of this incident, her daughter almost committed suicide, which caused a huge commotion. Since then, no family in the brigade dared to propose to her daughter, for fear that her marriage would bring bad luck to the family. From then on, this aunt always pointed fingers at Lu Jiu. In their opinion, this incident cannot be blamed on Lu Jiu. After all, it was Han Yuluo who was at fault as he treated this aunt's daughter too kindly, which made her misunderstand him. The person who rejected her daughter and made her want to commit suicide was also Han Yuluo. Therefore, when this aunt blamed Lu Jiu for everything, they really couldn't understand her train of thoughts. Shouldn't she hate Han Yuluo instead of Lu Jiu? Although they couldn't understand what she was thinking, no one bothered to tell her that she was wrong. After all, it's another family's business. If they interfere too much, they will be criticized. So it is better to stand aside and watch the show. When no one responded to her words, the aunt snorted and left. The other aunts just gave her a side glance and continued to chat. While the villagers were chatting leisurely, Li Chenmo walked into a dilapidated house and shouted, Doctor, please save my wife. Not long after, an old man rushed out and saw Li Chenmo carrying the unconscious Lu Jiu on his back. Quick, take her into the room. After the doctor finished speaking, he went to get the medicine box. Li Chenmo put her on the Kang bed and stood aside for the doctor to feel her pulse. Looking at the motionless Lu Jiu, his hands were trembling. Before they got home, Lu Jiu had already passed out due to a severe headache. Finding her fainted, he ran towards the doctor's house as fast as he could, ignoring the pain in his leg. When the doctor took her pulse, Lu Jiu was standing in a blank space. There was nothing but white around her. She stood there for a long time before she saw a ray of light coming from a door. The door was pushed open, and a girl wearing a white dress walked towards her. Because of the light behind her, Lu Jiu couldn't see her face clearly, but she had a feeling that she knew this person. When the girl was standing 1 meter away from her, Lu Jiu finally saw her face clearly. Her face was exactly like hers, they looked like twins, but besides their faces, their personalities are very different. The girl in front of her had a dark aura surrounding her body. The look in her eyes was dull, as if she was suffering from severe depression. Lu Jiyu and the girl looked at each other for a long time, before the girl finally said, "Lu Jiyu, I envy you for having a bright and beautiful soul." Hearing her words, Lu Jiyu knew that she was the original soul. She looked at her and said, "Everyone is born with a beautiful soul, including you." The girl smiled and said, "Thank you for your kind words, but I know what I am. I was created by God with a gloomy and timid personality. My life is destined to be short. Even the people I trust and love the most will betray me for others in the future. Lu Jiyu, thank you for your love and care for my family. In order to repay your kindness, I will give you something important in this world," she added with a smile. "What is it?" Lu Jiyu couldn't help asking. The girl looked at her with a smile and said, "You will know when the time is right. Farewell, Jiyu." When her body began to disappear, Lu Jiyu saw a look of relief in her eyes, as if she had been liberated from a shackle. Before she could speak, she felt something prick her body. Feeling the pain, she hissed and felt something suck her in before she slowly opened her eyes. Seeing that she was awake, Li Chenmo rushed to her side, held her hand and said, "Yua, you finally woke up. You scared me to death." Lu Jiyu turned her head and saw Li Chenmo's head was lowered as he held her right hand. When she felt his trembling hands holding hers were cold, she felt guilty and said weakly, "Husband, I'm sorry for making you worry. I'm fine now." Li Chenmo took a few deep breaths before controlling his emotions. After calming down, he raised his head and said with reddened eyes, "Wife, please don't scare me like this again. My heart can't take it." Looking at his expressions, Lu Jiyu's heart ached and she said, "Husband, I'm sorry." The doctor stood aside and watched for a while before saying, "Okay, don't be so dramatic. Your wife is fine. Let her rest for a few days and she will recover." Li Chenmo still had worries in his heart. His wife suddenly fainted and there was no way she would be fine. He looked at the doctor and asked, "Doctor, what's wrong with my wife?" "She just has menstrual pain. Her body is weaker than others, and after falling into the river in winter, her body was penetrated by cold air. That's why she experiences more pain. Boil these medicines in 2 bowls of water until only half a bowl is left. Drink it twice a day for 10 days. After she finishes taking the medicine, she still needs to nourish her body properly," the doctor said while packing the dried herbs. "Both of you should pay more attention to this matter. It will be very difficult for you to conceive if her body is not properly nourished," the doctor added while handing the 10 packets of medicine to Li Chenmo. Li Chenmo took the medicine and asked, "Doctor, how much is it?" "The consultation fee is 50 cents and the medicine is 2 yuan, the doctor said casually. Lu Jiyu was surprised when she heard the price quoted by the doctor. Didn't it say that private transactions are not allowed in this era? The doctor glanced at her and said, "As long as no one talks about this, will the government know about it?" After hearing his words, she finally understood. Going into the mountains to collect herbs is tiring and dangerous. The doctor can't do this for free. Everyone will get sick, so no one is foolish enough to report him even if they need to pay to see a doctor and get the medicine. If they offend him, what if they get sick and need his help? What's more, the hospital's prices are much more expensive than this doctor's. Since they were only going to visit Lu Jiyu's parents, Li Chenmo didn't bring any money. He looked at the doctor and said, "Doctor, we don't bring any money right now. Can I pay you tomorrow?" The doctor is not unreasonable. He knows that villagers rarely bring money with them unless they go to the town. So he nodded and said, "Okay." "Thank you, doctor," Li Chenmo said gratefully. "Bring your wife back and let her rest. Do not touch cold water or eat cold food for the next few days," the doctor reminded them. "All right." Li Chenmo bent down and carried Lu Jiyu on his back. When she hugged his neck, Lu Jiyu noticed his pale lips and a thought flashed in her mind. At first she thought he was pale due to shock, but then she thought that when she fainted he must have panicked and could not have walked slowly. Therefore he may have carried her all the way as he ran. Although he can now walk without crutches, he has not fully recovered from his injuries yet. After reaching this conclusion, she hurriedly said, "Husband, I can go by myself." Li Chenmo said nothing and walked outside. After leaving the doctor's house, he still had no intention of letting her walk by herself. "Husband, put me down." Seeing that his neck and forehead were covered with cold sweat, Lu Jiyu said worriedly. "No, I'll carry you back." Hearing his answer, Lu Jiyu was so worried that she couldn't stay still. Thinking of his stubbornness, she became angry and said, "Husband, put me down, or I will get angry." Li Chenmo paused for a moment and continued walking. This time, he refused to speak to her or look at her. He stared ahead and walked home resolutely. Lu Jiu knew that no matter what she said, he would not listen to her this time. So she buried her face in his shoulder and said nothing. She just hoped his leg was okay. Otherwise, if something happens to him, she will blame herself for the rest of her life. Li Chenmo only felt some pain in his legs, but compared to the pain and fear when he saw her lying motionless with a pale face, it was nothing at all. For a moment he thought he might lose her forever. Luckily, she's fine. 20 minutes later, they finally arrived home. Li Chenmo opened the door, walked into the room and put her on the Kang bed. As soon as Lu Jiu sat on the bed, she turned over and buried herself in the quilt. She didn't want him to see her cry. Li Chenmo looked at her back and his eyes dimmed. He sat on the edge of the Kang bed and pulled the quilt. After pulling a few times, he sighed and said helplessly, "Yua, be good. You'll suffocate if you keep covering your head with the quilt." After saying this, he pulled the quilt again. This time, Lu Jiu didn't resist and let him pull the quilt down. When he saw tears trickle down from her red eyes, he reached out to wipe away her tears and said, "Don't cry, it's all my fault. I should have listened to you, but I couldn't bear to let you walk by yourself when you are unwell." After hearing Li Chenmo's words, Lu Jiu felt even more sad. She reached up and touched his hand on her cheek. She looked at him and said, "No, it's my fault. I'm not angry at you. I'm angry at myself." Before Li Chenmo could say anything, she added, "Husband, I can't bear to see you in pain. What if your legs get worse because of me?" Li Chenmo was stunned when he heard her words. He thought he heard wrongly, but when he saw her tears, his dim eyes finally brightened. He heard it right. His wife was worried about him and couldn't bear to see him in pain. Doesn't that mean she likes him? Lu Jiu thought he was angry with her when she didn't hear him speak, but when she raised her eyes to look at him, she saw him smiling foolishly. The moment she saw him smiling from ear to ear, all her sadness disappeared instantly. She looked at him in disbelief and asked, "Are you so happy to see me crying?" Hearing her words, Li Chenmo came back to his senses and said quickly, "No, wife, don't misunderstand me. You saw I cried, but you smiled. What do you mean by that?" Lu Jiu asked again. "I'm glad you're worried about me. It seems like you like me," he said with a smile. Lu Jiu was stunned by his words while recalling their interactions from the first time she met him to today. She remembered telling him she would never leave him and making it clear that she cared for him. How could he say it seemed she liked him? She obviously liked him. Li Chenmo looked at her and asked, "Wife, can you like me a little bit more?" Lu Jiu wanted to tease him and say no, but when she saw his deep and gentle eyes looking at her with expectation, the words changed when it left her mouth. "Li Chenmo, I like you more than yesterday, and I will like you more tomorrow than today." After the words fell, she pulled at his collar and kissed his lips. The kiss lasted longer than their previous brief kiss. After 2 seconds, their lips parted. She turned away and said, "I'm sleepy, I'm going to sleep for a while." After saying this, Lu Jiu closed her eyes and pretended to sleep. Li Chenmo froze in place for a full minute before slowly recovering his senses. He lowered his head and looked at the back of his wife's head. The corners of his lips slowly rose until a wide smile appeared on his handsome face. He leaned down, kissed Lu Jiu's earlobe, and said in a deep voice, "I'm going to prepare the medicine. Have a good rest." After Li Chenmo left the room, Lu Jiu finally turned back and saw that the door was closed. She breathed a sigh of relief and patted her hot cheek to calm herself down. She lay on the bed and looked at the ceiling in a daze. Although the doctor said she fainted because of menstrual pain, she knew that the real reason why she fainted was because of the original soul's memory. At this moment, she had all the original soul memories from her youth to the moment of her death. She always thought that Han Yuluo was the original soul's husband who betrayed her, but when she obtained the memory, she finally knew that the person the original soul loved was not Han Yuluo. She had nothing but gratitude and family affection for him. The man she really loves and wants to marry is Du Jiawen. This realization shocked her even more than when she thought Han Yuluo was the original soul's childhood sweetheart. According to Du Jiawen's character setting, it is understandable that he would betray the original soul and have an affair with the widow. After all, the widow was his childhood sweetheart and ex-fiancée, Huang Yuanfeng. Lu Jiu couldn't help but sigh. Recalling the original soul's gaze before disappearing, it seemed that all her decisions were controlled by the plot. So even though she knew that Li Chenmo was 100 times better than Du Jiawen, she still couldn't help but obsess with Du Jiawen. Fortunately, when she took over the body, she was no longer bound by the plot. Otherwise, she would probably end up like the original soul in the original plot and let Li Chenmo down. While she was lost in thought, Li Chenmo was making noodles and brewing medicine in the kitchen. Although his cooking skills are not as good as Lu Juyu's, he can still make some simple dishes such as noodles and steamed buns. Before taking the medicine, his wife needed to have some dinner. Since there were eggs, pork, and vegetables in the kitchen, he made egg noodles for dinner. It didn't take long for Lee Chenmo to finish cooking 2 bowls of egg noodles. In addition to the poached eggs, there were several slices of meat on the noodles. He, like everyone else of this era, enjoyed eating fatty meat. So when he cut the meat, he gave most of the fatty meat to Lu Juyu as he thought she would like it. The slices are thick, and the soup has a layer of oil that makes it mouthwatering. He poured the thick, smelly medicine into a bowl and carried it to the bedroom. When he entered the bedroom, he saw Lu Juyu staring at the ceiling in a daze. He put the medicine on the bedside table and said, "Wife, what's wrong?" Lu Juyu came back to her senses when she heard the words and said, "Husband, I'm hungry." Hearing his words, Lee Chenmo was amused and said with a smile, "I made egg noodles. You can take the medicine after dinner." After speaking, he went to the kitchen and came back with 2 large bowls. Lu Juyu was stunned when she saw the bowl's size. She sat up and placed the low table on the kang. When Lee Chenmo put a bowl of noodles in front of her, her eyes widened in surprise. In addition to a poached egg, there is a lot of fatty meat on the noodles. Not only that, the soup was so oily that Lu Juyu felt dizzy just looking at it. Lee Chenmo saw that she was only eating noodles and didn't touch the meat, so he asked, "Wife, what's the matter? You don't like boiled meat?" Lu Juyu shook her head, looked at him and said, "Husband, this is too much. I can't finish it." "It's okay if you can't finish it. Just eat as much as you can," Lee Chenmo said with a doting smile. Lu Juyu glanced at his bowl and found that the meat in it was lean meat. After thinking about it, she said, "Husband, do you prefer to eat fatty or lean meat?" "Of course it's fatty meat. It's more fragrant and delicious," he replied without hesitation. "Then can we change the meat? I prefer lean meat. Fatty meat is too greasy for me," Lu Juyu asked probingly. Lee Chenmo looked at her, saw that she was serious, and nodded. Seeing that he agreed, Lu Juyu was overjoyed. She put all the fatty meat in his bowl and took 3 lean meat slices in exchange. Seeing that she didn't eat much meat, he said, "Wife, eat more meat." "It's more than enough," she said and took a sip of the soup. Although the noodle taste is not as good as hers, Lu Juyu thinks this bowl of noodles is delicious. She stopped after eating 1/3 of the noodles because she still needs to drink medicine. Seeing that she was full, Lee Chenmo took her bowl and ate the rest of the noodles, leaving nothing behind. Seeing that he had eaten almost 2 bowls of noodles, Lu Juyu asked, "Husband, are you okay?" Lee Chenmo nodded and said, I'm 70% full." Hearing his words, she was speechless. Fortunately, they have a lot of money and she has her own space. Otherwise, with his appetite, the work points they earn would not be enough for them to survive. Not knowing that his wife was worried about his appetite, Lee Chenmo took the tableware outside and washed it, and then brought a basin of warm water for them to wash up. After locking the gate and door, they went to bed. Early the next morning, Lu Juyu woke up before dawn and found herself lying in Lee Chenmo's arms. She looked at his sleeping face and smiled. She moved his arms slowly from her waist without waking him. After brushing her hair, she went to the bathroom before entering her own space. After taking a hot bath, she felt refreshed. Today, her brothers will come to help build the pig pen, so she needs to prepare more food for them. Since they use a lot of energy, they will feel hungry faster. So in addition to lunch, she also planned to prepare some snacks for them. After leaving the space, Lu Juyu went to check on the situation of the old hen. The old hen finally laid eggs thanks to the light bulb. When she went to refill the feeder and water bowl, she saw 5 eggs in the coop. Although she knows that this world is different from her previous world, she still finds it hard to believe that a hen can lay 5 eggs at a time. She put the eggs on the bamboo basket and found that the oval shape of the eggs was longer than ordinary eggs. In addition to being larger than normal in size, it also feels heavier. Curious, she brought the egg closer to the light bulb and noticed that there were 3 yolks inside the egg. The odds of a 3-yolk egg appearing are 1 in 25 million, but every egg laid by the old hen has triple yolks inside. If others knew about this, she and Lee Chenmo might get into trouble. After Lu Juyu learned about this, she kept all the eggs in her own space. From now on, she will use eggs produced in her own space if she wants to give them to her family or others. As for these eggs, she would use them by herself. After she filled the chicken feeders and water bowls, she went to the front yard to check on the peach trees. She thought the tree might have signs of death, but when she looked closer, she was surprised. Not only was the peach tree not dead, its branches even looked tougher and healthier than before. Since it was still early, no one had come out yet, so she used the water in the space to water the peach trees again. Lu Juyu went to the kitchen to light a fire and boil water to prepare breakfast. She also remembers to boil medicine for herself. Although she consumes water and products from her space every day, her physical condition is still very weak and malnourished. While the water was boiling, she went to her own space to make a lot of soy milk. She filled several vats of soy milk before leaving. Each vat can hold 30 liters of soy milk. She cooked a pot of fish porridge in a brazier, and when the water was ready, she filled the thermos flask with hot water. Remembering that her family usually only had some cold coarse-grain pancakes for breakfast, she made some more scallion pancakes. When her brothers and the others come later, they can use it to pad their stomach. When the sun rose and the rooster crowed, Lee Chenmo woke up. Feeling that his arm was empty, he touched the place beside him. He opened his eyes and found that he was alone in the room. When he left Kang bed, he frowned. The doctor had already warned them that Lu Jiu needed to rest well and not catch a cold, so he doesn't plan to let her work these days. Who knew she woke up so early and went out in this cold weather? When Lee Chenmo walked to the backyard, he heard a sound coming from the kitchen. Before he even reached the kitchen, he could already smell the aroma of food. Standing at the door, he saw Lu Jiu making scallion pancakes. "Wife, why did you get up so early? Didn't the doctor say you can't catch a cold and need to rest?" Lee Chenmo asked as he walked towards her. Lu Jiu heard his hoarse voice as he just woke up and said with a smile, "Good morning, husband. I'm just making some breakfast and it's not tiring. I'll finish my medicine and rest more, don't worry." Lee Chenmo knew that she might be stubborn sometimes, so he didn't say anything. While he wanted her to rest, he couldn't forbid her to do anything. He will let her do whatever she wants as long as she doesn't tire herself out. He stood behind her and hugged her. As he kissed her earlobe, he said, "What did you make? It smells so good." Lu Jiu felt that her earlobe was hot from his kiss. She cleared her throat and said, "I made fish porridge, scallion pancakes, and soy milk for breakfast." He hummed and rested his chin on her shoulder. Lu Jiu was hugged by Lee Chenmo while she was cooking and feeling a little embarrassed. She nudged him and said, "I boiled water for you, go wash up first." After a while, Lee Chenmo finally let her go and took hot water to the bathroom to wash up. When she was alone, Lu Jiu patted her chest and muttered, "Heavens, I thought I was going to die of a heart attack. He is so clingy." It took a while before her heartbeat returned to normal. Just as she was about to take breakfast to the bedroom, she heard someone calling from outside. Seeing that Lee Chenmo was still in the bathroom, she walked to the front yard and opened the door. She was a little surprised to see the person who came so early. "Aunt Lee, why are you here so early?" she asked with a smile. Aunt Lee was embarrassed to come to visit so early in the morning, but there was nothing she could do. She took Lu Jiu's hand and said anxiously, "Jiu, I'm sorry to disturb you so early, but I really have no other choice." Sensing Aunt Lee's anxiety, Lu Jiu said, "Aunt Lee, what's wrong?" "Jiu, can you lend me some money? My grandson has had a fever for several days and has not recovered. I want to take him to see a doctor, but the family has no money. I will return it to you when my son returns from the town," Aunt Lee asked embarrassedly. After hearing her words, Lu Jiu fell silent. It's not that she doesn't have money to lend her, but that she has never had any contact with this Aunt Lee and didn't know her personality at all. She was still hesitant about her sudden request to borrow money. After all, the money was given by Lee Chenmo, not earned by herself. If she wanted to lend it to someone else, she had to ask his permission first. Just when Aunt Lee thought she would refuse, she heard Lu Jiu say, "Aunt Lee, I don't have money to lend you, but I have antipyretic medicine prescribed by the doctor. I can give it to you. Do you want it?" Aunt Lee was a little disappointed after hearing the first half of her sentence, but she was very happy when she heard the second half of the sentence. Everyone knows that Lu Jiu also had a high fever before, and her family invited a doctor to check on her. It's normal for her to have some fever-reducing medicine at home with her weak constitution. "Thank you, Jiu," Aunt Lee said gratefully. "Aunt Lee, come in first." Lu Jiu smiled and stepped aside to let her in. Lu Jiu went to her room, while Aunt Lee waited in the living room. Lu Jiu closed the door and went to her own space. She took a strip of paracetamol from the medicine cabinet, ground it into powder, and put it into a small jar. After she was done, she left the space and walked to the living room. "Aunt Lee, give your grandson a 1/4 teaspoon of this medicine, 3 times a day after meals. Remember to let him drink enough water to keep his body hydrated," Lu Jiu said while passing the jar over. Aunt Lee took the medicine and said, "Thank you, Jiu. I will definitely pay you for the medicine when my son returns." "Aunt Lee, this is just a leftover. You don't need to pay for it. You should go back first. Don't let your grandson wait too long." After thanking her again, Aunt Lee left in a hurry. When Lu Jiu turned around, she found that Lee Chenmo was looking at her. She walked over and said, "That's Aunt Lee. She lives in a house near the banyan tree." What happened? Li Chenmo asked. Aunt Li's grandson had a high fever. She came to borrow money, but I gave her the remaining antipyretic medicine I have instead, Lu Jiyu explained. Li Chenmo nodded and said, even if you pity them, don't lend your money to strangers easily. It can cause trouble if people know they can easily borrow money from you. I'll listen to you. They had breakfast on the Kang bed. Not long after breakfast, there was a knock on the gate. Li Chenmo was washing dishes in the backyard, so Lu Jiyu went to open the door. Seeing the people outside the door, she smiled and said, Father, you are here. Father Li and the educated youths nodded to her. After entering the house, Father Li didn't see Li Chenmo and asked, Xiaoroyu, where is the third son? My husband is in the backyard. Father, have a seat first, I'll go call him. After they took their seats, Lu Jiyu went to the backyard and saw that Li Chenmo had just finished washing the dishes. Husband, father, and the others are all here, Lu Jiyu said to Li Chenmo and walked to the kitchen. Li Chenmo nodded to her and wiped his hands. When she was in the kitchen, she took a piece of fabric and placed it on the table. Then, she wrapped the scallion pancake in oil paper and placed it on the fabric together with the thermos flask. She tied the ends of the cloth together to form a knot. When she walked into the living room, there was no one else except Li Chenmo, who had just come out of the room after changing clothes. He was wearing a worn-out cotton jacket. Seeing her coming, he said, Wife, go change your clothes. I'll take you to your parents' house first. Lu Jiyu nodded and went to change clothes. After locking the door and gate, Li Chenmo sent her to Lu's house and then walked towards the foot of the mountain. When Lu Jiyu entered Lu's house, she saw Chen Anwen washing clothes by the well. In winter, villagers usually use braziers to dry clothes or put clothes on Kang beds. They rarely do laundry unless necessary, as the lack of sunlight makes it difficult to dry. Chen Anwen saw her coming and said, Jiyu, you are here. Sister-in-law, let me help you, Lu Jiyu said as she walked over. No need, I'm almost done. These are just the children's clothes. Go in and warm yourself up. Chen Anwen rejected her offer with a smile and motioned her to go in. Seeing that her work was indeed almost finished, Lu Jiyu stopped insisting and entered the house. When she entered the room, she saw Pan Magia peeling pine nuts in the living room. Seeing her coming, Pan Magia waved to her and said with a smile, Jiyu, you are here. Lu Jiyu sat opposite her and asked, Why are you peeling so many pine nuts? I'm going to toast it. Even though I'm new here, I still need to send some New Year's gifts. I heard from the villagers that the prices of seeds and nuts have increased recently. This must have cost you a lot, Lu Jiyu said while helping her peel the nuts. I bought it before, so the price is not expensive, Pan Magia said. After a while, she looked around and saw that there was no one around, so she moved closer to Lu Jiyu and whispered, I heard from other educated youths that someone bought a lot of nuts and seeds from the state-run supply store and then sold them to the black market to make money. That's why there's no more stock in supply stores. If you want to buy, you need to make an appointment in advance, but to do this, you need to give the store clerk a thank you gift. Hearing her words, Lu Jiyu was stunned and understood that the price was not increased by the government, but because of this so-called thank you gift. Aren't they afraid of being caught? She asked with wide eyes. Those people are indeed really brave, but they are almost starving to death, so they have nothing to fear and no other way to survive. It is better not to go to the black market for now, so as not to be caught by the officers, Pan Magia added seriously. Lu Jiyu nodded in agreement. This matter is no joke. If caught on the black market, the lightest punishment is a fine and several months in jail. At worst, they could be shot to death. It seems that she can only go to the black market after the situation calms down. Think about the materials in her own space. It would be too wasteful if she didn't make money. After the economic reform, food prices will drop, and she will not earn much money from selling grains or other foods. Before that, she wants to barter the food to collect more gold and antiques. The price of these antiques will rise in the future, and she will make a lot of money. Meanwhile, Li Chenmo was marking the place near the foot of the mountain. The pigsty is actually not far from their home, just across the river, but to get here, they needed to take a detour because there was no bridge over the river. Since it is inconvenient to take a detour every time to go to the pigsty, Father Li and the others decided to chop some bamboo and build a bridge. After Li Chenmo finished marking the area, he went to help them build a bridge. By noon, they finally completed the bridge. As soon as he finished washing his hands and face, he saw Lu Jiyu walking over with Pan Magia and Chen Anwen. They carry a bamboo basket on their backs. As soon as Li Chenmo and Lu Han saw their wives, they quickly walked over and took the bamboo basket from them. Father Li took Pan Magia's bamboo basket without saying a word. "Thank you, Uncle Lei," she said with a smile. Father Li just nodded to her and walked towards the others. Putting down the bamboo basket, Li Chenmo looked at Lu Jiyu and said, "Wife, you don't need to bring the food for tomorrow. We have built a bridge, and it will be easier for me to go back and prepare lunch." Lu Jiyu looked at the newly built bamboo bridge and said, "Husband, how about I stay at home while you work? With this bridge, it only takes at most 10 minutes to get here from our home." Li Chenmo frowned when he heard her words. Although the distance was indeed closer with the bridge now, he was still worried about leaving her at home alone. Lu Jiyu noticed his hesitation and added, "When you are away, I can ask Major to accompany me." After considering the pros and cons, he finally agreed. After all, going back and forth from their home to Lu's house is still very tiring. He was worried that her body wouldn't be able to handle it. According to the doctor, she still needs to rest and cannot be exposed to cold weather. After a brief conversation, Lu Jiyu removed the leaves on the bamboo basket and took out 2 kettles and a large bamboo bowl. At the same time, Pan Majia took out a 3-layer bamboo basket and tableware from the bamboo basket. Chen Anwen took out 2 large jars from her bamboo basket. Since there was no table, Lu Jiyu spread the food on the ground covered with banana leaves. As soon as everyone sat down, they saw a large bowl of steamed buns made of white flour. In addition to the steamed buns, there are 2 pots of fish soup, a bowl of braised pork, a plate of stir-fried vegetables, and a plate of fried eggs. Looking at this sumptuous meal, everyone's mouth watered, especially the educated youth. Lu Jiyu scooped out a bowl of fish soup for Father Li and Li Chenmo, and a bowl for her brothers. When she raised her head and saw that Han Yuheng and the educated youth were not moving their chopsticks, she said, "Everyone, food tastes best when it's hot. Have a try." "Thank you, sister-in-law," the educated youth said, scooped up a bowl of fish soup, took a steamed bun, and began to eat. When Li Chen saw that the meals prepared by Lu Jiyu for them included meat dishes, white flour steamed buns, fish soup, and even eggs, he glanced at his third brother. He knew that his third brother still had some savings, but seeing how his third sister-in-law was spending money, he began to worry whether their money would be enough for them to last until the next harvest season. Not noticing his elder brother's worry, Li Chenmo ate with delight. Although his wife prepared some scallion pancakes for him, they were eaten before lunchtime. He shared with others and only had 1 pancake to pad his stomach, so at this time he was already feeling hungry. Lu Jiyu poured him a cup of soy milk and said in a low voice, "Eat slowly, drink some soy milk." After drinking the warm soy milk, Li Chenmo nodded and said while placing a piece of meat in her bowl, "Wife, eat more." 30 minutes later, Lu Jiyu returned to her home with Chen Anwen and Pan Majia. At first she was a little scared to use the bridge, but when she stepped on it, it was solid and didn't even wobble. When they arrived in their backyard, Pan Majia said, "Jiyu, let me help you wash the dishes." Hearing her words, Lu Jiyu didn't refuse and said, "Thank you, Majia. I'll boil some hot water. Wait a moment." "All right." When Lu Jiyu went to the kitchen, Pan Majia took out the tableware and pot from the bamboo baskets. Chen Anwen returned to the Lu family. Wang Muxiao is still weak and cannot do heavy work, so she needs to do housework alone. There is still something to do at home, so she can't stay. Not long after, Lu Jiyu brought a pot of hot water to the backyard and poured it into a basin of water. She took a low stool and sat next to Pan Majia. While washing the dishes, Pan Majia suddenly said, "Jiyu, the quality of your soapwort is really good. It is very easy to remove grease with it." In the era when dishwashing liquid was rare, most villagers used soapwort to wash dishes and clothes. They also used some plant ashes to remove dirt from pots or pans. After Li Chenmo brought back some soapwort from Father Li's house, Lu Jiyu also collected some into her own space. After registering soapwort in her space, she plants it and uses it to make liquid soap. Of course, the quality of the soap produced by her space is much better than that made by the villagers. With soapwort, her space can produce not only dish soap, but also laundry soap and shampoo. "If you like it, I'll give you a bottle later," Lu Jiyu said. Pan Majia didn't see soapwort being planted at Lu Jiyu's house, so she knew they needed to go to the foothills to get the plants, which was quite a hassle. Although Pan Majia was overjoyed when she heard her words, she still refused. "I still have some, you can keep it for yourself." Lu Jiyu didn't force it and said, "Tell me when you run out of it. My husband brought back a lot of soapwort before, and I made a lot of liquid soap. There is still a lot left." "Okay." This time Pan Majia did not refuse. Soapwort couldn't be kept for very long, which is why most people don't make a lot at once. They made it once in a while so it doesn't get wasted. After washing the dishes, Pan Majia did not return to Lu's house. Since Lu Jiu has 3 empty rooms in her house, she tidied up a room, heated up the kang, and asked Pan Magia to rest there. Since there was nothing to do, Pan Magia didn't refuse and went to bed to take a nap. As for Lu Jiu, after locking the door, she went to her own space. In her space, she harvests some fish and makes smoked fish, fish balls and fish sausages. As for oysters, she found that her space could produce oyster sauce and pearls at the same time. Since there were not many oysters in her space, she only made 50 bottles of oyster sauce and let the rest of the oyster to reproduce. 50 bottles of oyster sauce will last her for a long time. After that, she went to the bathroom and soaked in hot water for 30 minutes. Feeling refreshed, she baked more cookies, muffins, and bread. It is really convenient to cook with these modern tools. As much as she wished she could get these things out, she couldn't. When she tried to take out the microwave, she felt something blocking her. It seems like she can't take out something that doesn't fit the era. As for the pan, it is counted as a metal tool and can be taken out. Although she can go into her space to cook, she cannot be as free as before after getting married. What if she is discovered by Li Chenmo when she enters and exits the space? Thinking of this, Lu Jiu decided to ask Li Chenmo to help her build a brick oven in the backyard. With a brick oven, she doesn't need to enter her space to bake. It also gives her an excuse when she takes out baked food in the future. In addition to baking biscuits and other snacks, Lu Jiu also makes a lot of roast chicken and roast pork. She spent 5 days in her own space that was equivalent of 2 hours outside. When she left her space, she went to the kitchen and made egg rolls for an afternoon snack. She took half a catty of pork belly, half a catty of beef, and half a catty of chicken and minced them. Then she took a cabbage and a few carrots from her space. She shreds the cabbage and dices the carrots, then stir-fried the meat and vegetables and added some salt, sugar, garlic, ginger, and sesame oil. After seasoning the filling, she took it off the stove and set it aside. Lu Jiu took out an uncooked egg roll skin and a tin of vegetable oil from the space. She poured the oil into the iron wok and heated it. While waiting for the oil to be ready, she starts to wrap the egg rolls. When the oil was hot enough, she placed the egg rolls in it while she continued to wrap more egg rolls. 2 hours later, she finally finished frying the last egg roll. After the oil drained, she placed the egg rolls on top of bowls covered with banana leaves before pouring the used oil into the oil jars. She made a total of 120 egg rolls. She keeps half in her space and the rest in a bamboo basket. Then she boiled a pot of hot water to make tea. When the water boiled, Pan Magia walked into the kitchen. Seeing that she was awake, Lu Jiu asked, "Magia, can you help me bring some tea to the helpers later?" Of course, Pan Magia agreed. Pan Magia watched the fire while Lu Jiu cleaned up the kitchen. After making 2 pots of tea, they locked the door and left the house. When Li Chenmo saw them, he walked over and asked, "Wife, why are you here? Did something happen at home?" Lu Jiu shook her head and said, "Magia and I are here to deliver tea and snacks. You should pay attention to rest and not overwork yourself. Be careful of your injuries." I know. Father, brothers, let's take a rest first. My wife brought us some snacks and tea. Li Chenmo turned around and shouted. Everyone was surprised to hear his words. It is uncommon for villagers to prepare afternoon tea for helpers. They had just eaten lunch and were not hungry yet, but when they saw the golden brown egg rolls and smelled the aroma of the tea, they couldn't help swallowing. After washing their hands and faces, they took some egg rolls and a cup of tea before finding a place to sit down. When they were eating, a man hiding behind a tree was looking at Lu Jiu with lustful eyes. He looked her over from head to toe and licked his lips. "Little beauty, wait for me to pamper you," he whispered as he chuckled before leaving. As the man walked away, Li Chenmo raised his eyes and looked at his back coldly. Anger and killing intent flashed in his eyes but disappeared in the next second. He glanced at his wife and reached out to brush the crumbs off the corner of her lips. Feeling his fingers brushing against her lips, Lu Jiu blushed and said with a smile, "Thank you, husband." When Li Chenmo saw his wife's sweet smile, the anger and murderous impulse in his heart dissipated, replaced by a warm and ticklish feeling. He felt as if his chest was scratched by a kitten. After they finished the afternoon snack, Lu Jiu and Pan Magia stayed to help them move the cut bamboo leaves to her backyard. She plans to use the leaves to make dried bamboo tea. Bamboo tea can aid digestion, relieve diarrhea, and promote hair and nail growth. It can also be used to make some facial masks or bamboo oil, which can reduce dark spots and wrinkles. It is also high in antioxidants, which nourish and tighten the skin. Since there are so many bamboo leaves, she plans to use the rest to make organic mulch to nourish the soil in her front and backyards. Lu Jiu was in a good mood after getting such good materials. When everyone was busy and no one noticed her, she put some bamboo in her space. After registering the bamboo in the store, she purchased bamboo seeds and planted them in the space. She does not plant large areas because everything planted in her space matures faster. After she and Pan Magia finished moving all the bamboo leaves, they went to the bamboo forest to dig some bamboo shoots. There are many bamboo shoots on the mountain. They each came back with a basket full of bamboo shoots and began to clean it up. She wants to make pickled bamboo shoots. These pickled bamboo shoots can be preserved for many years. Just when they finished cleaning all the bamboo shoots, Li Chenmo came back. Seeing that he had come back, Pan Magia washed her hands and said, "Juyu, I'm going back first. I'll come back tomorrow." "Magia, take this back," Lu Juyu said while handing her a bamboo basket. Pan Magia saw a few steamed buns and a jar of meat sauce inside. She did not refuse and said, "Thank you, Juyu. It's getting late now, so I'll take my leave first." "All right, see you tomorrow." After seeing her off, Lu Juyu came to the kitchen and saw that Li Chenmo had put the bamboo shoots into a large vat. "Husband, I boiled a pot of water for you. You go and wash up first," Lu Juyu said and began to clean the backyard. Li Chenmo nodded and went to take a shower. Lu Juyu went to their room with steamed buns, a pot of egg drop soup, and a jar of meat sauce. Not long after, Li Chenmo walked into their room with wet hair. Seeing this, Lu Juyu frowned and said, "Husband, you should dry your hair properly. What if you catch a cold?" "You sit down and I'll dry it for you," she added. Li Chenmo sat at the edge of the Kang bed. While Lu Juyu was drying his hair, Li Chenmo put his arms around her waist and rested his head on her shoulder. In this position, it was difficult for her to dry his hair. Lu Juyu sighed and said, "Be good, let me dry your hair first." After hearing her words, Li Chenmo let out a chuckle, raised his head and obediently let her wipe his hair. When his hair was almost dry, Lu Juyu said, "Let's eat first. I'll massage and give you a foot bath later." "All right." After working all day, he did feel that his injured leg was sore and a little painful. It appears his leg has not fully healed yet. After dinner, Lu Juyu went to fetch a basin of warm water and poured the medicine liquid into it. Back in the bedroom, she saw Li Chenmo sitting on the Kang while dozing off. Looking at his tired face, her heart ached. She placed the basin next to Li Chenmo's feet, folded up his pants to his knees, and then put his feet into the water. When he felt the warm water, Li Chenmo opened his eyes and saw his wife sitting on the low stool in front of him, massaging his feet. He sighed with satisfaction as she pressed against his acupuncture points. After Lu Juyu massaged his feet and calves for half an hour, the pain on Li Chenmo's leg was relieved a lot. When she was done, Lu Juyu said, "I'll go pour out the water. Wait for a moment." Li Chenmo nodded. When she left the room, he began to undress and waited patiently for her. When she came back, Lu Juyu immediately saw her husband's broad shoulders and six-pack abs, although he has not exercised for several months and has eaten a lot lately. Li Chenmo's body is still in good shape. She felt her cheeks getting hotter and looked down, but saw his mermaid lines instead. This time, Lu Juyu's face instantly turned red and became hot. Although she had seen the figures of many male models in her previous life, this was the first time she had seen someone who could have such a beautiful figure without any Photoshop. What's more, this man is her husband. Seeing his wife's face flushed, Li Chenmo raised the corner of his mouth and asked like a gangster, "Wife, do you like what you see?" Lu Juyu was speechless after hearing what he said. How could he be so shameless? Doesn't he feel ashamed to ask her so directly? Not hearing her answer, he asked again, "What, don't you like your husband's body?" After finishing speaking, he touched his abdomen muscles, sighed, and said aggrievedly, "It seems that my wife doesn't find me attractive at all." Lu Juyu was amused by his words, and said with a smile, "Husband, what are you talking about? Even if you are old and lose all your muscles, I will still like you." "Really?" he asked, raising his eyebrows. "Of course, when you get old, I will get old too. Maybe at that time, you won't like this old woman anymore," Lu Juyu said with a teasing smile. "I won't," he said seriously. Lu Juyu was stunned by his words and said, "All right, let's finish the massage so you can rest earlier." Lu Juyu knelt behind Li Chenmo, took out the massage oil, and began to massage Li Chenmo's tense muscles. After the last massage, Lu Juyu found that Li Chenmo's muscles were not as tense as before. Although she still needs a lot of effort when massaging, she is not as tired as before. She gave him a full body massage for nearly an hour before she stopped. When she finished massaging, Lu Juyu saw that her husband was snoring slightly. She pushed him gently and said, "Husband, put your clothes on first before sleeping, otherwise you will catch a cold." Li Chenmo opened his eyes, got dressed in a daze, lay down and continued to sleep. Lu Juyu chuckled and went to wash her hands. After locking the gate and the door, she lay down next to him and tucked them in. "Good night, husband," she said, kissing him on the cheek before closing her eyes. As if aware of her presence, Li Chenmo stretched out his hand to embrace her in his arms and then fell asleep contentedly. In the next few days, Lu Jiu and Pan Magia were busy making bamboo shoots pickled and processing bamboo leaves, while Li Chenmo and the others were busy building pig pen. They made pig pens out of bamboo and thatched roofs. They cover the walls with hay to ensure that the pigs do not get cold during the winter or rainy season. The pig pen covers an area of 20 square meters and is divided into 5 parts. 2 parts were built side by side on the left and right of the building, surrounded by bamboo fences for the pigs. Each part was 3 square meters, and there was a long feeder and a vat for water inside. There was a 1-meter wide road in the middle. The other part is used to place tools and miscellaneous things. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief when the last thatched roof was erected. Luckily, they finished it 2 days before New Year's Eve. Before returning home, Li Chenmo said, "Thank you, everyone. My wife and I will prepare a meal to thank you after the new year. Please come over then." Although they felt there was no need to invite them for a meal, because the meals prepared for them during this period were full of meat and very delicious, Li Chenmo had invited them again and again. Therefore, they did not refuse and promised to come when the time came. Before Father Li and Li Chen's left their house, Lu Jiu said, "Father, eldest brother, we have prepared New Year's gifts for you. Please wait a moment." Lu Jiu went to the kitchen and came back with a bamboo basket for Father Li. Then she went to the kitchen again and got another bamboo basket for Li Chen's. Father Li saw the things in the bamboo basket and said, "Third son, save your money. There is no need to give me so many things." "That's right, third brother. These past few days you must have spent a lot of money to buy the meat and white flour. You should keep this for yourself," Li Chen's added. Hearing what his father and elder brother said, Li Chenmo was touched and said, "Father, this is the filial piety of Juyu, and we also prepared the same thing for Juyu's family. If you refuse, we won't be at ease." Father Li sighed and said in a low voice, "Third son, father doesn't want to interfere in your family's affairs. However, you and your wife need to save some money. After all, there are still many places where you need to spend money. If you spend money indiscriminately, what should you do if you run out of money?" Li Chenmo understood his father's concerns. After all, in their eyes, although he had some savings, they were not much. He couldn't tell them that he had a lot of savings from selling things on the black market, so he could only nod and say, "I understand." Father Li and Li Chen's breathed a sigh of relief when they heard his words. "We will accept it this time, but you don't have to spend so much money on us in the future. As long as you are happy, it is enough," Father Li said. Li Chenmo nodded. After seeing them off, he went to the kitchen to fetch a pot of hot water before he went to take a shower. When he came out, he smelled the scent of bamboo and wondered what his wife was doing. He entered the kitchen, put the pot in the cabinet, and asked, "Wife, what are we having for dinner?" Hearing his question, Lu Jiu checked the bamboo rice in the stove and said, "I made mushroom and chicken bamboo shoot soup, also bamboo rice. I made 2 flavors, sweet and salty, because I don't know which one you like." Li Chenmo opened the lid of the pot and immediately smelled the aroma of chicken, mushrooms, and bamboo. He felt his mouth watering and his stomach growling. He closed the lid and asked, "Do you need any help?" "It's almost ready. Please help me move the tableware and braised fish to the room." "All right." Not long after, Lu Jiu took out the bamboo from the stove and put it on the plate. At the same time, Li Chenmo also came back and brought the bamboo shoot soup to their room. After placing the food on the low table, Lu Jiu scooped a bowl of bamboo shoot soup for Li Chenmo and said, "Husband, drink some soup first." Li Chenmo took the bowl in her hand, took a sip, and his eyes suddenly lit up. Despite the thick layer of oil on the surface, the soup was refreshing. The taste of chicken and mushrooms had a hint of sweetness, whetting his appetite. He took a bite of the bamboo shoots and tasted the crunchy, smooth texture and sweet taste. The mushrooms were soft and fragrant, and the chicken meat was juicy. Before he knew it, he had finished a bowl of bamboo shoot soup. After Li Chenmo finished the soup, Lu Jiu opened the bamboo tube rice. Salted bamboo rice is made by stuffing rice, meat, and some coconut milk in a bamboo culm. As for the sweet bamboo rice, it is made with raisins instead of meat. Because it is made of glutinous rice, Lu Jiu only made 2 salty and 1 sweet rice in bamboo tubes. Eating too much glutinous rice is not good for their digestion. After a long time of roasting, the fragrance of bamboo is integrated into the rice. Lu Jiu scooped half of the sweet bamboo rice into Li Chenmo's bowl and said, "This is a sweet flavor, try it to see if you like it." Li Chenmo nodded and tasted the bamboo tube rice. The rice is not too sweet and tastes good. He nodded and said, "It's delicious." After he finished the sweet bamboo tube rice, Lu Jiu gave him salty bamboo tube rice. Different from the sweet taste, the moment he tasted the salty taste, his eyes lit up and he ate faster. From this, Lu Jiu made a mental note. Her husband seemed to prefer salty foods to sweet ones. They ate in silence and finished their dinner in 30 minutes. After that, Li Chenmo said, "You go and wash up first, I'll wash the dishes." Lu Jiu did not refuse. After Li Chenmo left the room, she went to take a shower in her space. When she was done, she went to the kitchen to boil hot water for Li Chenmo. Seeing her coming out with a thermos flask, Li Chenmo asked in surprise, "Have you finished washing up?" "I'll boil some water for you." Lu Jiu nodded and went to the kitchen. Li Chenmo looked at her back thoughtfully. Only 5 minutes had passed since he left the room. He hasn't even finished washing the dishes yet. Therefore, he did not expect that his wife had already finished washing up. Don't women take longer to clean themselves compared to men? How could his wife wash faster than him? Although he was puzzled, Li Chenmo didn't think much about it. The hot water was ready when he finished washing the dishes, while Li Chenmo went to wash up. Lu Jiu filled the thermos with hot water, and then filled the jars in the kitchen with seasonings and food. In the past few days, she had used up all the rice and flour in the jar. Since Pan Major is helping her, she can't take out the materials from her space. Thinking of Pan Major's troubled expression when she saw those empty jars, Lu Jiu couldn't help but smile. Not long after, Lu Jiu heard someone calling in the front yard. She looked at the moon that looked like a thin line in the starry sky and frowned. Who will come to visit at this time? When she came out of the kitchen, she saw that Li Chenmo had already gone to open the gate, so she didn't go out, and returned to her room after washing her hands. At the same time in the front yard, Li Chenmo looked at his second brother standing outside the gate. "Second brother, it's already so late. What brought you to visit me at this time? Is there something urgent?" he asked with a frown. Li Chengshuan didn't mind Li Chenmo's attitude, and said with a smile, "Third brother, I heard that you gave our brother a lot of things. Did you prepare some for me?" Although he didn't like the attitude of Li Chengshuan and Zhao Siyu towards his wife, Li Chenmo still nodded and said, "My wife prepared it. You wait here, I will get it." Li Chengshuan wanted to enter the house at first, but was stopped by Li Chenmo. Although he was displeased, he didn't dare to force his way in, so he could only nod his head and say, "Okay." When Li Chenmo turned around, he found that Li Chengshuan was looking towards his house eagerly, and the frown on his face deepened. He still remembered the way his second brother looked at his wife when they first met. When the thought that his second brother might have lustful thoughts about his wife flashed through his mind, Li Chenmo became angry and slammed the gate shut. Bang! Li Chengshuan's nose was hit by the gate. He covered his reddened nose and hissed. "Damn it, Li Chenmo, did you forget to take your medicine?" he muttered angrily. When Li Chenmo heard this, he snorted coldly and walked to the kitchen. Although there was no evidence and everything was just his own speculation, he couldn't help but feel angry at his second brother. Doesn't he know that it's inappropriate to look at his brother's wife like that? When he came back with the New Year gifts, Li Chenmo saw that Li Chengshuan's nose was red and felt a little bit better. He handed the bamboo basket over and said, "Here, don't come so late next time. Don't you know you're disturbing me and my wife for visiting at this time?" Hearing Li Chenmo's words, a flash of jealousy flashed in Li Chengshuan's eyes. What else can they do besides doing that kind of thing at this time? It's a pity that such a beautiful girl married his third brother. He is inexperienced and aloof. Li Chenmo will not be able to make his wife happy like him. Although he had jealous and indecent thoughts in his heart, Li Chengshuan looked at Li Chenmo with a smile on his face. "Help me thank my third sister-in-law," he said with a smile, emphasizing the words, "my third sister-in-law." Hearing this, Li Chenmo's eyes darkened and he said, "Second brother, you don't have to thank my wife. My wife and I are one. Thanking me is enough. It's getting late, you should go back. My wife is still waiting for me." Without waiting for his reaction, Li Chenmo closed the gate, locked it, and returned to the house. Seeing the closed gate and hearing the sound of locking, Li Chengshuan spat at the door angrily, turned around and left. Chapter 106, Meat Distribution Day. The next morning before dawn, Lu Jiu woke up. When she opened her eyes, she felt Li Chenmo's arms around her waist and shoulders. She kissed him lightly on his chin, then moved his arm away. After leaving the room, she went to the bathroom before entering her own space. After taking a hot shower, she went to the warehouse to pick up some ingredients and then left the space. Lu Jiu put the ingredients in the kitchen and she went to check the chicken coop. The old hen laid 5 more eggs today. She put the eggs in her space, filled the feeder and water bowl, and went to the front yard to water the peach tree. When she was done, Lu Jiu watered the fields in the front and backyards. In the past few days, Pan Magia and she have made a lot of mulch from the bamboo leaves. They use it to cover the front and backyards, including the peach trees. When the spring arrives, she can start planting vegetables in the yard. For breakfast today, she prepared some vegetable porridge, scallion pancakes and soy milk. While she was cooking porridge on the brazier, she boiled a pot of water for Li Chenmo and kneaded the dough for the scallion pancake. When it was done, she set it aside to let it ferment, then started making the hand-pull noodles. This type of noodles only requires flour, salt, water and oil to coat the dough. Although this was her first time doing it in this lifetime, her movements were smooth because she often made it in her previous life. She made more noodles for New Year's Eve dinner. After the noodles were ready, she kneaded the scallion pancake dough for a while, and then began to cut the dough and put the filling. After making breakfast, she drank half a bowl of porridge and her medicine. Li Chenmo woke up amidst the crow of roosters and found that his wife had already woken up. He blinked a few times in a daze before getting up. Putting on his cotton-padded jacket, he walked to the kitchen. As he expected, his wife had already prepared breakfast and boiled a pot of hot water for him. He walked over, leaned over and kissed Lu Jiu on the forehead, saying, "Good morning, wife." Being accustomed to his morning and good-night kisses, Lu Jiu smiled and said, "Good morning, husband. Go wash up and let's have breakfast together." Because he had just woken up, his voice was hoarse and deeper than usual, which pulled Lu Jiu's heartstrings. Lu Jiu smiled and brought breakfast to their room. Not long after, Li Chenmo came back, and the two had breakfast together. While they were having their breakfast, the villagers gathered in the open space near the village hall. Everyone got up early because today is meat day. Food distribution days take place after the harvest in late September or early October. Meat is distributed according to work points, similar to the distribution of grain. At this time, except for Lu Jiu and Li Chenmo, who had no work points, everyone, including the newly arrived educated youth, had arrived at the open space. Since they have no work points, the educated youths are just there to join in the fun. When the sun rose higher, the villagers saw that Han Yuheng and several men were herding pigs over. In the whole brigade, their production team raises the fewest pigs. They kept only 3 pigs, which were raised by wicked people who lived in the pigsty and the cowshed. The villagers stretched their necks to see how good the pigs were this year. They sighed when they saw that the pig was not as fat as the pigs raised by the neighboring production team. It seems that this year they will only receive as much meat as usual. Every year they are required to hand over 2 pigs to the central government. The pigs need to weigh at least 100 kg, otherwise they need to make up for the lack of weight from a 3rd pig. When the first pig was placed on the weighing equipment, the villagers held their breath. When the arrow moved, their eyes widened, hoping that the arrow would keep moving to the right. Unfortunately, when the arrow reaches 138 kilograms, it stops moving. Although it is not as fat as expected, the pig weighs more than 100 kilograms, which is not bad. They proceeded to weigh the 2nd pig. This time, the pig was only 120 kg. Fortunately, the 3rd pig weighed over 150 kilograms. After discussing with the people sent by the central government, Han Yuheng agreed to send the 1st and 2nd pigs while they will slaughter the 3rd pig and distribute it to the villagers. Due to the lack of meat, villagers will receive half a kilogram of meat for every 500 work points. The maximum points they can earn each year is 1,500 points. Therefore, the most meat a person can eat is only 1.5 kilograms. Not to mention women and children, even adult men rarely get 1,500 work points. So most of the villagers only got 1 kg of meat. When it was the Lu family's turn, they got 8 kilograms of meat. Father Lu, Lu Han, and Lu Cheng each have 1,500 work points. Mother Lu, Chen Anwen, and Wang Muxiao each earn 980 work points. The rest of the points were obtained by Lu Jiu and the children by collecting pigweed. When the villagers saw the butcher cutting off 3 kilograms of fat meat, 4 kilograms of pork belly, and 1 kilogram of bones, their eyes turned green with envy. Although they were envious and jealous, they could only blame themselves for not having such a good labor force. "Uncle Lu, the meat is here. Thank you for your hard work this year." While talking, Han Yuheng put the meat into the jar and handed it to Father Lu.